What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family and my fighters? I'm One Eye Bright, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 4, titled The Key. Review, recap, discussion, some Easter eggs, my thoughts, and more. So obviously, spoiler warning for all things Walking Dead, but definitely for Fear the Walking Dead Season 6. And I gotta put out there a mature content warning. We're gonna highlight some things and show them here. Mature content warning. Well, The Key focused on John Dory. And I love John Dory and Garrett Dillahunt, but John Dory is the focus of this episode, and it's titled The Key. And there are keys all over the place. On the flags, on the clothes, on the walls, all over the place. Keys are everywhere. And it starts with a normal, nice, and quiet, everyday life here in Lawton. And I guess John Dory is like a police officer. He's a patrol person around the community. And we see that he's been writing letters to June, and June was writing them back. And it was pretty cool to see that there was correspondence, even though you would think John and June would be able to see each other, especially since John has some status in Lawton. But John writes a letter to June. He talks about things that are going around and things with his dad, and just everyday life is good for him. He actually starts to buy into what they're doing here in Lawton. That's Cameron. So Cameron is like the night shift guy, and then John replaces him. So either way, Cameron has a shift by himself, and then John replaces him. And Cameron's drawing stuff in his sketchbook, as it'll be pretty lonely. But John's sitting there, and there can't be much action going around. Lawton is pretty quiet, and it seems peaceful. Then you see Janice and John talk several times. Janice was the girl in the second episode with Strand and Alicia, and she's in charge of laundry. She's the one that's exchanging the letters for John and June, and it's nice to see them have correspondence. Old school with some letters. Now I want to point out this right here. What's on the table right there? A lantern. A red lantern, which may symbolize death, but more on that later. Lawton, early morning. John walks to replace Cameron, but Cameron's not there. That's pretty weird, right? So every morning we saw John replace Cameron, but now Cameron's not there. And where could he be? He should be there, right? That's the opening sequence, and then the opening title, and then we see Morgan open up the door with some red fireworks. Red, red, all I see is red. He opens up the box that was left specifically there for Morgan from Daniel. Daniel left him a note. Morgan reads, "Found this in the vehicle that they took her in at the Gulch. Good luck, DS. Daniel Salazar." And it's a jacket. So I'm guessing it's Grace's, even though I've never seen Grace wear this. I don't know where she had this. Maybe Daniel just found it and she's been wearing it recently. Morgan takes it back to the truck. He has Rufus smell it. And it was pretty cute because he's like, okay, how does this work? You got to smell it and pick up the scent. Well, they're going to drive back to the Gulch. But the last time Grace was there, she wasn't wearing that. Is it a vest? Is it a jacket? Is it a shirt? I'm not sure. But it was interesting because Morgan says, "I hope she recognizes me." Well, Morgan, you look the same, but, it reminded me of season 5 when he was looking in the mirror and he drove away. But is he that different now that she might not recognize who he is because he feels different? And I see some symbolism with his clothes. But you see the little shack where he was, buy one, get 5 free. Man, that's a good deal. John Dory and 2 other people go to Cameron's house. No one answers. John Dory goes around the house and finds Cameron, who's a walker now, in the barbed wire. And his neck was being chomped on by 2 walkers. John Dory isn't sure if this was a murder, accident, if walkers got to him, because that doesn't make sense for Cameron to just be bit by walkers. Later on, we find out that John Dory finds an earring in the gravel or dirt where Cameron was. And Janice says, "Well, I don't know, Cameron. That's not my earring. I don't really know much about it." Turns out she was lying. Also, I thought this was interesting, the clock. It says 11 o'clock, but it stayed on it a little bit. What's the face there as well? I'm not sure what it means, if anything, but either way, John Dory goes to talk to Ginny, and Ginny's just trying to put it off. A lot of times throughout the episode, John shows her the earring. That turns out to come back around. But Ginny is like, yeah, let's not cause a panic. We don't want to cause any problems here. We want to keep everybody safe. No, we want to make everybody feel safe. And John's like, no, let's actually make people safe, not just make them feel that way. The looks that they're giving this guy and Ginny, it's like, yeah, Ginny knows something. Ginny's in on this. Ginny's involved with it. It's just too much to be like Ginny doesn't know what's going on. Either way, they have a funeral. John doesn't get to check out the body. They bury Cameron without letting John do his job of checking out the body. Dakota and John are talking. John gives Dakota a piece of candy because John's tooth is bothering him. More of that later. And every time Dakota tries to talk to John, Ginny intervenes. So she won't even let Dakota say anything. But later on, Dakota's like, look, you're doing the right thing, John. Keep up the work. Keep investigating things. While everyone's at the funeral, Janice tries to leave and escape going through the same barbed wire fence that Cameron was at. This guy points his gun at her and Janice is arrested. They check Janice's bag and what do you know? The other earring is in there. Why would she have that? It doesn't make sense. I'm thinking Ginny planted that in the bag. Now, a lot of people thought this was Madison way back when the trailer came out months ago, but it's not even Alicia, it's Janice. Janice is in the jail cell, and that's where she ends up till she gets killed later on in the episode. John meets with Ginny again to go nowhere. Dakota's like, look, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing by investigating it. Keep up the good work. Dakota's talking to John, and yet again, Virginia intervenes and tells Dakota to come in the house. Also, before I forgot to mention, Dakota says that Cameron would be one of the Rangers that helped Dakota and kept her safe when they left the community. So I still think that Dakota could possibly be the one that saved Morgan, as we still don't know who that was. It could be between Sherry and Dakota in my book. And if you can, guys, please hit the subscribe button and help us achieve that goal of 100,000 subscribers. We just need 6,000 more subscribers. At night, John meets Strand. Strand is there for a meeting, or he's going somewhere for a meeting. John and Strand talk, and it's a nice meeting, but John still feels off about the whole thing with Cameron. He didn't get to check the body, so what does he do? He goes to the grave in the middle of the night and digs up the grave and finds Cameron's body. And he finds a piece of a knife handle in Cameron's hand and also evidence that Cameron's throat was slit and that's how he died. So it wasn't an accident, it was a murder. While he's there, two walkers fall into the grave. And it's interesting because wouldn't you think the graves would be put into a safe area where it's fenced off? Why wasn't it fenced off? What if somebody wanted to go visit the grave? It seems unsafe. John gets Strand to help him and go into the weapons locker before the worker there does in the morning. They find that a knife is missing, number 38. That's not there. Why would you just have a knife in the weapons locker? Why isn't Ginny and her own people that she have her own weapons that aren't logged? But either way, John finds that a weapon is missing and the logbook page is actually ripped out. John goes back to talk to Janice and Janice is like, look, you can't help me, just stop. Ginny, Strand, they come in and Strand covers for John being there, but Ginny basically forces Janice to admit that she killed Cameron, and it just seems like Janice has given up. I'm not sure why she didn't put up a fight because she didn't actually kill him. At least that's what I believe. John's been drinking. Rabbi, I believe his name is Jacob, comes and talks to John. John tells some stories about his dad being a police officer and that he planted evidence to get this guy convicted. And John is only thinking about saving Janice. He packs a bag for Janice. And it reminded me a lot of Carol way back when in season 6 of The Walking Dead when she was packing a bag to leave. I know it's not the same thing by any means, but she was packing a bag on the bed and it just reminded me of that. And Janice was supposed to be executed in the next morning. John goes to check on her and break her out, but she's gone. She was taken from the jail cell at night. But John just walks through the front gate. No guards, no nothing, which is terrible security. He just kind of unlocks a hatch and he goes through it. And there's a boombox in the tree. And that silver boombox right there reminds me a lot of Say Anything. Anyone know that 80s movie? But I know it's not the same thing. And then we see a leg connected to a chain. And that reminds me of the girl that was with the guy that Carol and Rick found. And then we saw the guy at Terminus later on. Her leg was just laying there in the front yard. But John Dory takes out the walkers and we see a body ripped in half. But then he looks around and that's Janice's body, who is now a walker. John puts her down and then shoots out the radio, which was pretty cool. And then John digs another grave and buries Janice, which is a nice sign. I like that right there. Janice, even though she's in the grave, it's not good. But either way, John goes back into town. He's probably drunk still, goes in and he's pissed off and he sees the rabbi. And then he finds out that the rabbi and Strand went against him and Strand and John start fighting. John actually hits Strand in the face with the gun. John's beating up Strand pretty good because Strand can't fight. It's pretty hilarious. But John's going to reach for the gun. The rabbi kicks it away. Boop. John gets a couple more punches in and says you killed her and then walks away. And then John gets a promotion. He gets a golden key. I'm guessing it's a badge. I guess the badge system are different color keys because you can see a golden key, and he gets some perks now. We'll find out that he gets a perk later on in the episode that we'll see. And I'm guessing this is Virginia's way of basically giving a reward to John and hoping it all goes away. But I don't think so. Something's up here. We know that Virginia is in on it. Somehow, some way, John's tooth is still bothering him. And more on that in a second. It's very symbolic. You know, I like symbolism on this channel. But Virginia rewards John. John goes home, lays in bed, a knock at the door. June's there. Now June moved from wherever community she was at to Lawton, so John and June are together. John goes into the bathroom to freshen up. Now at this point he pulls out his tooth. And Janice said while she was in the jail cell that it's rotten. This place is rotten and it ruins everything, or it spoils everything. Now I believe that John's tooth is rotten and he had to rip it out, and that was symbolic of what he's going to do in Lawton. He's going to rip out all the spoiled stuff in Lawton, and hopefully that starts with Ginny and her people. Dun dun dun. Can't wait to see it. Then we see Morgan driving down a road, no outlet. Should have been a dead end, but no outlet. Rufus and Morgan are driving down the road in Emil, the headhunter's truck. Why is that important? Because there's an accident. And because it's Emil's truck, the two guys from the submarine crashed into it. But all I worried about was Rufus. And I guess Morgan a little bit too. But we all know Morgan doesn't die. But Rufus is okay. There's the accident right there. Boom. These guys were just waiting for him. I don't know how they picked the right road at the right time, but there it was. It just worked out. Rufus is okay and everything's all right. Morgan, feels his shoulder and his chest. He's like, probably a little sore. I mean, it was a bad accident. I'm surprised the airbag didn't come out. But either way, Morgan's okay. He gets out. We look at the SUV. Turns out that the two guys from the submarine are there. Dun dun dun, a big showdown. And if you look at Morgan's outfit, right? Dark boots, dark pants, black jacket, black vest, black shirt. It's clearly he went to the dark side, right? Symbolism. He's definitely wearing dark clothes, and that usually represents evil. Even though Morgan's not evil, you don't mess around with Morgan. Morgan is in clear mode. He talks to this guy. This guy just wants the key. And we know that he has no idea who Virginia is because he asks about Emil. And Morgan says, Ginny knows where he is. Who's Virginia or who's Ginny, right? These guys have no connection with Ginny whatsoever, even though we thought there may be one. But it doesn't matter because these two guys are toast, right? Morgan is not messing around. He's Darth Morgan. He's ready to take you out. So he's boom, 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 takes this guy out, and it's pretty awesome, right? He swings the axe, hits the guy in the stomach, boom, stomach, entrails, intestines, all flap out of this guy's abdomen, and totally reminds me of Spencer in season 7. I said it before and I'll say it again. I think Fear the Walking Dead season 6 is great. Even though it's copying a lot of stuff from The Walking Dead, I'm okay with it, but that's probably why it's great, because it's taking what is pretty good and great from The Walking Dead and bringing it here. Morgan headbutts the guy, bah! And the guy mentions the key that Morgan has, and it doesn't matter because Morgan takes this guy out. Even though right here, I thought this guy would get away, but nope, Morgan takes him, stabs him in the chest. He's been doing that lately. It took out Emil with the chest stab, and now this guy with the chest stab, and he's gone. So I wonder who these two guys work for, or at least work with. Morgan looks at his key and is like, what do you open? And that's how the episode ends. If you can, guys, if you like the video, like the channel, hit that thumbs up button, as liking the video and like the channel is the easiest way to help support the channel. So there you go. Awesome episode, great episode. Fear the Walking Dead season 6 is great. Still, all 4 episodes were interesting, entertaining. They have a little bit of main characters tossed in with a little bit of Morgan here and there. Can't wait for everybody to come together to hopefully take down Virginia. Can't wait for next week's episode. Thank you guys. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Stay safe and tell them, Daryl.
Yo, we love you guys.